everybody. This is Jed Johnson. They call me Napalm, and this is episode number 52 of This Week in Grip. Last week's episode discussed, well, actually, there was no episode last week, but episode 51 discussed research that showed swearing before attempting a strength execution has shown an increase in strength production. And we asked you to leave comments regarding your use or lack thereof of swearing and the results you get from it. So thank you to those who commented and also those who liked the video last week. We really appreciate that, and it does make a difference. So go ahead and do that now before you're done listening. Now today, we'll dig through some of those comments at the end of the show if we have time, but if we don't, I promise we will go through them another time, because what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on the Haugen Strength Classic and arm lifting competition that took place in Philadelphia on April 28th and 29th, which is where Ricardo and I both were last week and competed in it. And just an update, looked at the hashtag this week for This Week in Grip. We were up over 1,300 posts, 1,351 to 2 weeks ago's 1,273. So we're almost 100 posts up above that, so keep doing that. And again, like the video, leave a comment, participate in the show however you like to. We really appreciate it. It gets the word out better. And remember, the first rule of grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport. And by doing hashtag posts and by leaving comments and liking the video, it shows that these videos and posts are popular and gets it in front of more people's eyes. So thank you very much for those who have done that recently. I'm joined right now by Ricardo. We have not heard from Alan in a little while. We're actually doing this an hour and a half earlier than we normally do it on Sunday because of the crazy schedules that we are experiencing here now that the weather is breaking. I've got a hunting club meeting, a yearly hunting club meeting. I don't even hunt at this place. I don't even know why I'm going, but I've got one later on that would interfere with the show. And as always, Ricardo has a bunch of sporting events going on, and then Alan said he had something going on at some point today, so that's probably where he's at. But Ricardo, how are you doing? I know you're in the car right now with at least your wife, maybe kids, grandkids. You don't have grandkids, do you? What am I talking about?
I hope not. I'm 43. That would be not good. Yeah. Was heading south to UC Santa Barbara for my son's basketball tournament. He's 13 in 7th grade. So, yeah, we're heading there. My wife's driving, and I'm on the show with you. So, first of all, I want to congratulate you for winning the contest last week. You did.
Oh, thanks, man.
You really did.
Hey. Hey, so did you, man. Like I said in one of the comments somewhere, I don't know where it was now, but your performance actually pushed me to do more and make some more aggressive jumps on a couple of the pieces that we were lifting on. So you did awesome as well, buddy.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. You know, in hindsight, you know, if I knew how, and we'll go over it when we talk about the events, but if I knew how good I would have done, I think I could have closed the gap a little more, at least certainly between me and Eric, and you know, but that's the fun part of the contest. You never know how it's going to turn out, but I was very happy with my performance. So
good, man. Good.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea?
Go ahead.
Well, one of the questions I had was, do you have any idea what the actual spread was at the end of the competition? Because I haven't seen actual scores yet, and they may be on the arm lifting website.
No, I'm going to put them up today. Yeah, I do have the final scores. So for those of you who were not at the contest or have not been following Arm Lifting USA, we use percentage-based scoring. So if you win every single event of the 6 events, the maximum you could get was 600 points. And in the overall, you know, we had 3 bodyweight classes, up to 90 kilos of 198. That's where Eric Hussein won. Then up to 110 kilos of 242. That's the class that I won. And then we had over 110, over 242, which is what Jed won individually in the classes. But then we did an overall scoring to see who was really the best gripper of the day. And Jed, you had 577 out of the 600 points. Eric had 567, and I had 551. So it was, and then after that there was a large drop off into like 520. So it was a pretty big drop off after that, and there were a couple people between 500 and 520 because there were a lot of ties in the event. So people received the same amount of points. So
right.
Yeah, but no, I mean it was a very close battle, and it went down to the country crush. I mean, it came down to the last event. So I'm going to be putting those results up today. I'll make sure I send them to you. But yeah, I've been just busy doing catching up with schoolwork and catching up with things at home this week. So I'm going to put up the results, and I'll also, Jed, update the leaderboards later this evening too, after we get home from basketball. And then we'll see your name there in the Arm Lifting USA leaderboards, I think. So that'll be exciting.
Very cool, man. Thanks. I know it takes a lot of time to travel, so it takes time out of your normal routine. And then it's a tremendous amount of time to update sites and data and spreadsheets and all that stuff. So much appreciation to you for doing that as in those record-keeping capacities, because I do know how much time it takes. So much appreciated.
Well, yeah, it does. You're welcome. Yeah, it does take time, but it's fine. If I didn't want to do it, I wouldn't volunteer for it. So it's fine for me, and I think, I mean, you can comment since it's your first Arm Lifting USA competition, but I think literally every single person, men, women, had a good time. I mean, they had such a good time. We were getting people showing up for the second day who had never done it before. They didn't even do the first day, and they heard about it, and they wanted to try it the second day, which to me was awesome.
And even on top of that, Ricardo, I talked to a guy on day one who wanted to do it day one, and then he never signed up. I told him to go talk to Ode, and then I didn't see him after that because I was over there to the refreshments bar, the concession stand, to get a coffee. I came back and I never saw the guy again. So, I don't know if something came up or he found out how long it might take and didn't want to stick around. I have no idea. That's all speculation. But he was there for like an hour or so before the competition took place, said he was going to do it, and then I never saw him. So
that's too bad, but it doesn't surprise me because we did have quite a crowd at one point. I mean, there were hundreds of people watching it at one point. You know, the passers-by of the Fit Expo, and just walking around to the booths, and I think it was pretty obvious that, especially when the weight started getting bigger and it was kind of banging and clanging on the stage there, I think it attracted some people, and I definitely saw people sitting down and standing up, and then it was standing room only for certain events. Obviously, towards the end on Sunday when the expo was starting to close down, our crowd diminished a little bit, but Saturday in the afternoon, it was packed. I mean, it was definitely packed.
Yeah.
So, Jed, I have a question for you. Obviously, in winning the event, fantastic. How many contest PRs did you record during this contest of the 6 events? How many were PRs?
Okay. Let's see. So the first event was Rolling Thunder. That was definitely a competition PR because I can't recall the last time I actually was in a Rolling Thunder competition. It was probably back in I would say 2006 perhaps. So it's been there's been
quite a while.
There's been 2 generations of handle since then. So and it was also a PR on the new version of the handle. So I was extremely happy with that. Axle was not a PR. Silver Bullet wasn't a PR. The block was a PR, definitely on day 2.
Hub was a PR.
Yeah. Hub. So I saw it written somewhere that I got 66 pounds, so that would not have been a PR. I was thinking I got more
70.
Okay. Yeah. So that was a competition PR. It was not if you lump training in there, I actually got higher, but I may have had more in me, but man, I was very tentative about my right index finger because all of a sudden that finger that I injured started hurting on me, and I didn't want to, if it was about ready to go, I didn't want to press it too hard. So that's why I waved off my last attempt. I thought the risks outweighed the benefits of taking that last attempt with the way my finger was feeling. So
if you couldn't have done the country crush, you wouldn't have won.
That's right.
If you had blown up the finger and you had to take a token country crush, you would not have won. You might not have even finished on the podium.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
especially given how close everything was.
Right.
I would say, and definitely Country Crush was a competition and training PR. I was nowhere near that in training. I would say this is the best I've felt in my hands, like lower arms, in a competition in a very long time. I would say it's the best I've felt in my back in competition in a long time. Mentally, best I've felt mentally in a long time. It's the best as far as like my progression of attempts and reaching my potential on the contest. I don't know what it was, but everything just fell together in a way that everything was near perfect except for the hub. So
right.
But even on the hub, I recall, I believe it was on my third attempt that I took, I missed on my first try during my 60-second attempt. I missed, and I just gathered myself. I walked over, I re-chalked, got some breaths. So even that, like the mental capacity to just stay focused and not panic was there. You know what I'm saying? So like,
it was very clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was extremely happy with all of those elements of competition. It all came together very nicely. And I honestly didn't sleep real well the night before because in the hotel we were in, the air conditioner would not stay running no matter what I tried. And there wasn't like a fan option to just turn the fan on.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't find my stinking charger. So there's a video on YouTube. Well, there's lots of them, but it's like 10 hours of box fan, and I'll run that sometimes if I don't have a fan with me when I'm traveling. But because I couldn't find a charger that would work, I couldn't do that. So I didn't really sleep that well that second night, second night of the trip. But everything fell into place. It didn't end up hurting me. Felt good. Had a great time. What about you? What about your PRs on the events?
Well, Rolling Thunder, I equaled my PR at the 100-kilo class. I've done 3 kilos more. I did 90. I've done 3 kilos more, but I was 267 pounds. So, in the 220 area there, 90 kilos, and it was the easiest I've done it. I felt like had I not had to follow myself with 92.5, or if we had a little more time, but at that point the people were eliminated. It was just you, me, and Eric left at that point. So I had to follow myself, so I had maybe 3 minutes rest. It wasn't enough. If I had maybe 10 minutes rest, I think I would have gotten the 92 because I pulled it all the way up to the top and then I dropped it. So that would have been a PR at this class. Then I took a gamble. I went to 172, 380 on the axle so I could beat you. And as you saw, I held it and I just didn't quite have it locked out. I mean, I held it at the top for about a second and a half, but I wasn't quite locked out. I'm glad they did not give me that as credit as a lift because I would not have been proud of that as a PR. So I finished only with 165, which is not my best. I've done one. It is actually my best at this weight class, but I've done 170, weighing 20 pounds more. So it's still a solid lift. And the 165, I dropped that 3 times in LA. And obviously I held it quite tightly for my second attempt here. So, and then Silver Bullet was not as good. I was not a PR there. So I guess 1 PR on axle at this weight class. And then if you go to the next day, I realized I was in 4th going into the contest because Jesse Nelson, who's a strongman. For those of you who don't know who Jesse Nelson is, he's about a 250-pound strongman who lives in West Virginia, and he has a phenomenal grip. And that 21 seconds that he did on Silver Bullet, number 3.5, that threw a monkey in my wrench right there. That thing threw off the whole contest. because I was not expecting him to pull that out, and he was rock solid on that gripper. I mean, so he
absolutely he was.
Yeah, I mean, and he has for a strongman who does grip training but not grip specializing. I mean, I'm doing grip specializing, and I think you are too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's got an excellent grip. I mean, for someone who's not doing it at the level that, just specializing in it. And then, day 2 I had to turn it up because I wanted to be on the podium. I mean, I drove 3.5 hours to the LA to get on the plane, to fly 5 hours to see you guys. I really didn't want to finish, 4th, 5th, or 6th. I wanted to be on the podium. And obviously I know that you and Eric are both stronger than me, but my whole idea is closing the gap. If I can just close the gap month by month, contest by contest, then I'll be in good shape. And I feel like I did that because obviously Hub is a good event for me. I ran out of attempts. I peaked, my training is so brutal with all these 2-a-day trainings that I didn't realize when I peaked how well it would work. And so Hub, I ran out of attempts. I mean, I made 73 in the contest. Then I made 76 as an exhibition lift. And I sent a video to Clay, and he's like, was that your opener? So, I mean, I really feel like on that day, I could have done well into the 80s, which I think there's only a handful of people who can beat me on that, and maybe not even a handful. So, Unfortunately, I left and that's a lot of points on the table because I tied Luke for winning the event. I mean, he won on body weight, but we both got 100 points. Had I added 5 to 8 more pounds on the Hub, that we're looking at, I beat you guys by more than 10%, and I really would have jumped up points. I mean, I would have been equal to Eric at that point, and maybe even ahead, and I would have been right on your heels. And and then block again. I made 2 PRs, so I made 2 contest PRs there in the Hub. The block, I made 2 PRs, 78 and 84. And a credit, as you were well aware, needs to go to your training partner, Lucas Raymond, because he is like the chalk whisperer. He figured out how to chalk up that block so well that it actually had some grippiness as opposed to when we started where it was like smooth like glass.
Yeah, so, it's worth mentioning, yes, that we show up to the competition expecting the current generation of pinch block, and it's actually a previous version of pinch block which has a different coating of paint on it, which I have never gotten never gotten chalk to stick to. So I was expecting to be down in like the 60s, maybe 70s, if I was lucky with that model.
Eric thought anything over 50 was world class on that, given the slipperiness of it. And to be honest, Jed, and I'll use the hashtag dinosaur here, I didn't even know that thing existed. I've never even seen that before. I didn't even know that they had an old school model like that. But Lucas invested his own time chalking that thing over the course of a day. And so I wound up pulling 78 and 84 for PRs. And, I walked over to the thing at the end and I hammered the weight that would have won. So just for fun, I didn't ask for an exhibition lift because no one was paying attention. So, it was, I left some pounds on the table there too. I'm really happy with how my pinch has been coming along. And so I had 2 contest PRs there, and again, undershot my deal. And then in Country Crush, I needed, just to seal the deal to make sure that I would stay far away from Luke and Jesse Nelson, I needed to get a PR on my 3rd attempt, which I did on Country Crush. So day 2, I turned it up, and I was extremely happy. Like you said, that the peaking, the mental focus, the having a little my own internal pressure, because I did really want to finish on the podium. It all came together for me. So I was very, very pleased, and I had a great time, and I appreciated the bar that you and Eric set on day 1, and also in day 2 that it was great to chase after, and I appreciate it because I like to compete against the best. I'd rather, and I think Jed, that's one of the things is, obviously you're the more of a local guy. Eric and I are in good shape. Luke was in great shape. Throw in Jesse, throw in some of these other guys like Joe Sullivan, Steve Nichols, who are new but very strong men. And you had a great contest right there. Fantastic.
There was plenty of talent there. And real quick, I just want to throw in that you made a good point about some of the exhibition lifts. I actually took an exhibition lift with 100 kilos on the Rolling Thunder and absolutely smoked it. So I actually had a little bit more on the Rolling Thunder than that. So that felt good. That felt amazing. And also, I wanted to say that we had a couple guys show up on day 2 that did not compete in day 1. And if they had, I dare say, I don't know that they would have landed in the top 3, but I think the top 6 probably would have gotten shaken up as far as the totals if they were on day 1. I'm talking about Joe Tidwell, who showed up.
That dude is strong. He's very raw,
that dude is,
but very strong.
Yes, arm wrestler. That's his more current athletic background. But whatever the weight that it was that I did on the pinch block, he ended up lifting that once the contest was done after he was all out of attempts. The other one was the guy, and I can't remember his name exactly. He's the Highland Games guy, Jim, right?
Tim. Yeah.
Oh, Tim. He goes by Lemmy something on Instagram, and he does a lot of Highland Games. And he did quite well also.
Yeah.
So Joe Sullivan was in the mix on everything. Like you said, Jesse, help me out with Jesse's last name. Nelson. Jesse Nelson really surprised me because in talking with him prior to the competition, I gathered what you did, that he was kind of raw, didn't have a lot of specific training on the implements, but then he totally blew away the 3.5 on the silver bullet. I want to throw out there that the number 4 felt like the hardest number 4 I have ever tried to squeeze. I could not even get a lock on the silver bullet, and that's never happened with a number 4 with me and ever. And also, I thought that this was without a doubt the strongest I have ever seen Eric Rusin. I have never seen him come to a competition and be that good on all events that were taking place. He was, I'll be honest, dude, I thought that his lead would not be able to hold up on day 2 because of the 2 pinch events. Now, I made some ground back on him, but I thought for sure it would be, I didn't even think the Country Crush would be that big of a deal going in, because I'm used to seeing his numbers being a little bit lower on pinch events than what he brought to the table this weekend. So he was on. He was definitely a force.
Well, as you're probably aware, Eric and I have become pretty good friends over the last year. We met last year in Russia, and we've roomed together now at 3 different contests, and we've become really good friends. I mean, we talk all the time, and I would argue that if we lived closer and we had the ability to train together, we'd both be killing and pushing each other to beyond the limits of where we are now, because we really enjoy each other's company. And I tell him every time, he keeps raising the bar. But yeah, he told me he was coming to win this thing, and he's not a guy who's going to brag. But he's like, I think I got a really good shot to win the overall. He just said it like that.
Yep.
And I said, you do?
Yep.
Oh, I said, it was good. I said, you're not the only one. And he goes, I know. He goes, but 6 events, you, Jed, Lucas, there could be a dark horse. Anyone could win this thing, given the events and given the format, which I really like the format, given the 60 seconds to try the lifts. I mean, we saw Big Joe from New York, Sullivan, literally, not to be mean, because he's a newer competitor, he messed up a little bit on some of his attempts, and he came back once he got more focused and nailed them. He did it twice.
Right.
And if it was just a one and done, like a King Kong where you're one and done, he would have been much lower in the standings.
Yeah.
So the 60 seconds is a good rule. It doesn't make the meet go on forever. It's a good rule, and in my opinion, it's a you want to find out who the best is. Now, the only thing that could make it better is if we did last man standing, right? So if we kept going and did the last man standing, but then the contest obviously takes quite a bit longer. So I think the 4 attempts is a good compromise. And it does penalize, like you said, those newer guys who don't really know their abilities, right? The newer guys. But no, Eric, I mean, in the Country Crush, he killed all of us. So, and I think if he was pushed, if he had to if he knew he wins, he could have thrown more weight on there if he knew he had to. But I think he realized at that point, with you beating him beating both of us because he and I tied on pinch block with 84. If you and I had, if you had, you took a big lead with the pinch block there because you beat us by 10%, and that was the difference between you and him in overall. So, but it's the first time he's done the number 3.5 in a contest, and he did it for 5 seconds. So, I mean, country crush world record, multiple. I think three of his attempts were records. I mean, you know, he put his homework in. He did the work. So
yeah, yep,
yeah, for sure. No, and I have to commend Lucas, by the way. You know, obviously I had never met you and him in person, but you know, I got to tell you, and I told him in person, I was looking over my shoulder because I knew if I had any slip up, Lucas would beat me. And he's an excellent gripper, and I do have an advantage. Obviously, I'm much taller than him, although his hands probably are about the same. You know, I'm heavier by 20 pounds. So, but which matters, especially in the axle and the country crush. I took it to him pretty well in those ones. And body weight definitely matters. But I would tell you this: I would be hard pressed to find 5 198s that are better than Lucas in the world at grip. I mean, to me, he's in the world class because he doesn't have really weak events. So,
right.
And I mean, you know, for example, if we were to send, you know, a group of people over to, and I know we digress because it's APL Worlds is going on right now in Russia, literally as we speak right now, it's going on. But I mean, we take Lucas in the 198s, me in the 220s. You know, you'd have to be in the 275s. I don't think you'd want to cut to 242, but I mean,
I could do that.
You could?
Oh, hell yeah. I could do that
and
easy.
Would it affect your thick bar that much?
No, my gosh. I just have to quit eating dessert for a few weeks, dude.
Yeah.
Do some cardio. It wouldn't be that hard. It's just discipline, diet discipline that I'm lacking, honestly.
Yeah. Well
but go ahead with your point.
We put you in there. If Ode's healthy, we put him in the 275s, Clay in the supers. I mean, we just with those 5 people we named, we could win the team title. So, yeah, I mean, Lucas is an excellent competitor, and I don't think he gets enough credit. He's excellent.
Yeah, and that's actually what that was another thing I was gonna bring up. He was beating me on pinch block the whole entire training period.
Yeah.
So I was actually I kind of saw him as something that could be, I don't know if the word spoiler would be the right term for it, but with a couple different attempts, you know, a couple different successful attempts from him, things could have been changed as far as where I ended up, which would have affected my scores and my aggregate score and could have upset the whole apple cart for the podium positions.
No question about it. He's that good, and it was again. And you said, you know, it's a bunch of factors that came together. I really believe that this was one of the more competitive fields that you're going to see in a grip contest. I mean, it was a deep field and it was very good. And then unfortunately, you know, Rich Williams wasn't able to come to a hand injury. That would have added so much more to the contest.
Yes.
So
yes. Mm-hmm.
So
for sure, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I liken it to I like a contest like this, Ricardo, where the scores are so even throughout the whole competition. It brings, you know, I draw a comparison to like the bowling matches I used to watch on TV when I was a kid, or a golf tournament where you've got like, dude, I don't even know anybody's name anymore, but, you know, where they're going back and forth, changing the leads, or a pitcher's duel in baseball.
For sure.
Where, you know, and it's like you cannot, in competitions like this, you can't afford to go off to the side and like start talking about, you know, your craft brewery or whatever that you have back at home. You have to you have to stay on the whole time, and that right there is another aspect of it that just becomes more exhausting because it's mental demand that you've got to stay on the whole time. You got to be able to shut it off to a degree, but you have to be able to turn it back on, and if you get too far away from it, you could end up screwing yourself over with the following events. So
Jet,
I think that
hold on
yeah.
1 second, please.
Yeah.
I don't know. Spot the tire, and when they rotate the tire, it's going to hit your tire. Anyway, sorry about that. We're having trouble finding parking here at UCSB, but we're good. I think we latched on to something now. Anyway, yeah. So you're right. There was focus.
Yeah, but and that's almost like so this is the first 2-day competition that I've done since 2012 at Mighty Mitts. So everything that I've done since then has been all in one day. So it was kind of like that need to stay focused. It was almost like good to have it be on a second day because you got a break. You didn't have to stay on for,
right.
Let's say 8-10 hours, whatever the competition really, as far as the time really took between the 2 days. Thank God it wasn't all in one day. And it was nice that it was broken up by the Moss wrestling and the participation of the people in the crowd to come up and try stuff. Things along those lines were nice because you didn't have to stay on 100% of the time. You did have a minute to unplug, but you still had to remember that you've got more stuff you've got to accomplish. And sometimes when you've got to get all that done in the same day, or if you're actually like running or organizing the competition all at the same time, it adds up to just absolute turmoil. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. And you know what? And I'm going to credit Ode to that because you know what? It's not like it's the first contest he's ever run. So, I mean, we've and this is, I had a more active role in helping with this one, but yeah, I mean, we've put on contest after contest after contest. So I'm just his, assistant, but the point is, that he knows how to break it up for good performances. The other thing that's unfortunate is that his leg was bothering him, that he was only able to do the Rolling Thunder. And then, to walk in from sitting at the desk, take one warm-up at 90 kilos, and then to just ask for 5 pounds more than Eric did, and then do 105 is pretty, obviously, impressive.
For sure. So, no doubt about it. He did he did something very similar on day 2 on the Country Crush. Do you want to go ahead and share that? Because I don't know the exact numbers that were on that. But
he took the weight that Eric did and then did it for 6 reps with no warm-up. Just from sitting at the desk all day. Right? So Eric did, I think, 394, 390s. It wasn't 396. I think it was 393. I think it was 178.5 kilos. And he just walked over and did it for 6 reps.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he obviously could have done well into the 4s. I know he's done 420 pounds. I would venture to say with any kind of competition he would have done more than that. So, yeah. So there you have it. So
yeah, that's another.
He's unbelievable.
Absolutely, that's another. I haven't competed against Ode since that same competition in 2012 in Mighty Mitts. So I was looking forward to that. I was totally under the impression that he would be competing. So when he didn't come up for the Axel, I was like, well, Ode hasn't gone yet. And then I think it was you that said that he was having some kind of he'd been dealing with an injury. So that was part of my game plan. Like I had to push myself a little bit harder because I knew I'd be going against Ode.
Well, I think it was a last minute decision. He felt like his leg wasn't ready. I mean,
right.
The week before, I mean, he and I talk every few days, and the week, I mean, just 3-4 days before, I was expecting. That's one of the reasons for my brutal sessions is the California Strongest Hands. He beat me by less than a point, and I would like to have it where sometimes the student does actually beat the master, kind of like in one of those movies. And he's the one who got me into grip and grip sport and competing. And he suggested, the first time when I signed up for one of the Fit Expos, he suggested that I was ready to compete with the big boys, 4 years ago. So that was obviously at some point I'll get him. But I mean, he still does things, especially with thick bar, that I don't think there's anyone on the planet that can do. I don't know how many people can sit around, running a contest, printing things out, organizing. He's not just running one contest. He's running Moz Wrestling, too. 2 contests. He's got those, and then the people from Siberia came to do the Moz Wrestling theme song, which I think, that could be a new addition to This Week in Grip. We might have to introduce some people to the Moz Wrestling theme song. That is quite an interesting performance. I'd never heard it live myself.
No, I've never heard of it, period. I didn't even know that kind of I don't know if I didn't see did she have an instrument in her mouth that she was using to make those sounds?
It was almost like a mini harmonica type of a thing. It seemed like I didn't get a good enough view of it. It was obviously so loud that you didn't want to get too close.
Yeah.
But it seemed like there was some kind of a mini metallic instrument there. Maybe it was in her pocket and then pulled it out just at the right time for the performance.
Right. So I was like, is she doing that with her voice? Because I know that Mike Patton from Faith No More and Phantomus and stuff like that can make some amazing sounds with his voice. I'd never heard anything quite like that, but I didn't know if maybe she was cupping her hands together and causing an echo. Who knows? Because there's so many things that people can do that you don't realize till you see them. But then at the same time, her partner, her assistant or whatever, was holding the microphone up. So then I was like, well, maybe she's holding on to something. But it sounded very similar to, if anyone's ever watched the Crocodile Dundee movies, there's a point where he goes up on the mountaintop. He says he has to make a phone call. And he goes up there, and he's swinging this thing on a string, and it's like that. And I was like, it sounds just like that.
It was quite similar. Well, I think it's probably some ancient Aboriginal type thing, except the people are the Yakuts people there in Siberia, which are like that region for the Moz Wrestling. It's a traditional, ancient thing, that's not like a saxophone or a trumpet. They probably had some real simple thing, probably was made out of reindeer bones back in the day, and now they've got some metallic type instrument that can, certainly make a lot of, a large volume of sound. So, but it was quite the sight. And, but at the end of the day, it was a great contest. It was great to meet, obviously you and Lucas and Joe. And then, you talked about up and comers a while ago. I think that Steve Nichols has got a phenomenal amount of potential. This new Tidwell guy is so strong. He's a big man, 280 pounds. I didn't even think he looked that big, but he's 280, arm wrestler. Joe Sullivan's a big, strong dude with, again, a ton of energy, ton of potential, and as nice of a human as you're going to meet.
And we didn't even talk about Juji Mufu yet.
Nope. He came in and just, but he's actually been training his grip pretty hard. I talked to him, he's been having all of his little grip shows that he's been putting on the internet. And, he came in there. I think he might have been 6th overall. I don't have the results in front of me. I am going to put him up later today, though. He's a big, strong man, about 200. And he weighed in under 250 this time. I think it was 242, right around 242. And, he came in there and he made some PRs. He pulled 170 on the axle, which that was a new axle. That was not seasoned. That was brand new, out of the box. 170 on a brand new axle. That is a very credible pull. It still had that light coat of oil that it comes with. So, you can't fake a near 400-pound axle. I don't care what people say about the guy because, some people are criticizing because he does all this crazy stuff. He is a strong dude. You go, I don't care how big the people are. You would be hard pressed to find a regular gym goer who could pull 375 on a double overhand on an Iron Mine axle, especially brand new. Right. You could search through hundreds and thousands of gyms. It would be hard to find someone who could do that. So he's been putting in his work, and he was reaping the rewards. And then the next day, he and Jesse Nelson both certified on Crushed to Dust. So it shows that they have very good all-around grip strength. Even though grip is not their number one priority, they
they have very good overall grip strength. So it was great.
Yep.
That was another added bonus. And I think the Crush to Dust actually brought a ton of spectators. But I think, also we should tell the people, we did a little seminar prior to day 2. Jed,
Yep.
you wanna run that down a little bit?
Yeah, that went really well. And the way that worked was, in case anyone hasn't seen any of the videos or pictures, we were on a stage. So we were elevated. So that helped, because even if the crowd was 50, 75 yards away, as long as their vision wasn't blocked by a banner or pipe and drape or a booth, they would be able to see what was going on. And it was, as I recall, the main people up on the stage were you, me, and Lucas, right?
Correct. And
Yeah,
Ode started, and then he had to do some administrative stuff for both contests. So Ode kicked it off, handed the mic to me. I talked for a little bit. I introduced you and Lucas, and then we went to town for an hour.
That's right. We showcased, I don't know how many different grip handles and implements. Rolling Thunder, Country
Rolling
Crush.
Thunder, we had Axle, we
Nightmare.
had Nightmare, both Lucas's Inch Pinch and Mini Inch Pinch.
Yep.
We had those on there. We had the block and the hub on there. Yeah. At one point, Jed, when you had the microphone, I was counting how many people we had up demoing it. We had 20 people on the stage in line or trying implements, multiple implements at once, plus you, me, and Lucas.
Yep.
Fantastic.
That's cool. That's good that you did that, because I have no recollection of what you're talking about right there. I remember 2 guys coming up. Isn't that crazy?
No, we had Hannah the Destroyer was up there. We had a couple other women come up and trying implements.
That's right. That's right.
She was strong. She's strong.
You're totally right. So, and what's funny about that is one of the other competitors in the contest, John Mauser, who's also from West Virginia, down in that area.
Correct.
So I was aware of him because he and I are actually working together on a coaching capacity for his grip training for both grip sport and for his strongman and Moss wrestling. And he competed in both events, by the way, which had to be extraordinarily taxing for his grip strength. Yeah. And I was also aware of Hannah the Barbarian on Instagram.
Destroyer.
Yes, I'm sorry, Hannah the Destroyer. And
she may also be a barbarian, but I think she goes by the Destroyer.
Yes, thank you. So, and I was always like, man, it's uncanny how much their two gyms, their 2 facilities look. And I thought for sure that Hannah was like a professional strongwoman competitor based on the numbers that I've seen her put up. And I thought she just did steel bending on the side. But as it turns out, those 2 are like a couple, and they train at the same gym. And I was like, John called her Hannah. I was like, wait a second, she looks familiar now that I see her. I was like, are you Hannah the Destroyer? And or what is it? Yeah, Destroyer. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, that's me. So I was like, wow, that like a big light bulb, like a big neon light went off in my head, and I was like, holy cow. Yeah, dude, it finally sunk in. So things that should be really, really obvious to me are not always so. So I have the best intentions, but sometimes stuff just doesn't sink in. But that was fun. It was very good thing. The thing that I tried to focus on when I was on the microphone was correlating what those events might carry over to in other aspects of training, because it was very clear that there weren't a bunch of grip guys in the audience. It was a lot of fitness fitness competitors, but like CrossFit style challenge types of things. Spartan competitors. There were bodybuilders.
Said he was on Ninja Warrior. Yeah, athletic. Yeah. The people were definitely athletic. I mean, we didn't have a bunch of couch potatoes up there. These were athletic, strong people who just hadn't been introduced to these grip tools.
That's right.
Yeah. It's funny. I already got some messages from some of the people on Instagram thanking me for doing the clinic, and they're like, yeah, we already bought some of this stuff.
That's cool. I mean,
you talk about the first rule of grip sport is spreading it. I mean, 20 people up on stage trying stuff out, even if just a couple, even if 4 or 5 buy stuff and 1 or 2 go to an actual contest. I mean, that hour of volunteering has been well worth it, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. Plus, it was kind of served as a little, mental refresher. It got me out of the hotel earlier. A little bit of a warm up, got me loose. Was able to walk around, stretch, get a coffee in me, stuff like that. I mean, it was like a breath of fresh air. To be honest with you, it was really nice. I love meeting people and talking about grip and talking about training. It was a great time. The whole thing all around was a great time.
Yeah, it was fun. And this leads me to the next thing I'd like to talk about. I don't want to beat it to death, but I really hope that more of the East Coasters, if Ode and I can put together another contest like this out on the East Coast, really hope we can get more people coming out. Because I know, and I know the summer is different. Maybe people have more flexibility, but for the SJ4, there were 50 people or so at that one. And this was a great venue to compete. I mean, everyone, you, me, Eric, Lucas, that's the top 4 people, Jesse, everyone said PRs. I mean, everyone was pushing everyone to raise their game. There's plenty of other people who would have said PRs if they had come out to compete. And I'm just using this as kind of a public call. Hey, come compete. Bring it. Check it out. I mean, it would have been even better with some of the other grip guys on the East Coast who are quite talented if they had been able to come. And I know people are busy. It costs money. I know. I mean, I get it. But if I can come from California, some people can drive from 2 or 3 hours away, right? I mean, if you want to do it, you can make it happen. And I think, there were definitely people that unfortunately, I think missed out on what a fun time it was. And I just hope that they can realize that, all of us there have a passion for this thing. We're excited about it. And it's fun to push each other and see how it ends up at the end with 6 events. It was fantastic.
Yeah, you make a good point there. I don't know why. I don't know exactly all the reasons that people didn't come. I hope one of them is not that, well, I'm not going to be able to go and be competitive, because the fact of the matter is, dude, if I would have waited until I was competitive in grip, I would have waited another 2 years, or at least another year. Like the first contest I did, I did rather poorly. And, I got stomped by people who I ended up beating later on, but you have to get that experience under your belt. And every contest I've ever been to, I've helped people that had never competed before. And even in this case, I guess maybe the help might have come a little bit too late, but, there was Anthony, right? There was a Tony there on day one. And first, dude, I'm sorry, the last names are escaping me right now, but Bianco, I think was his last name. Yeah, right?
He's the guy who was like a 165-pound guy. He was pretty strong.
Yes. And, I gave him some tips after he was done, which I think will help his Rolling Thunder the next time that he tries it. And I was thinking he was coming back from day 2, but I guess he didn't. It was nice meeting Sean Parisi. He's a local guy. He's a Jersey guy that I've been friends with on Facebook for a while. Didn't ever meet him before. He was the leaner guy that had a big beard on day one. Right. And he's friends with, he also knows John Stepien. So, I don't know what I was trying to talk about there. I guess the fact that even if you don't know exactly what you're doing, there's always people at the contest that will help you. And I as a person that's competed in both strongman and grip, and a person that's been around powerlifting meets, and a person that's been around, never really been around Highland games, but I've been around kettlebell competitions and things along those lines. I think grip has the best environment for new people, for helping people along. I mean, literally people that I'm gunning for to try to beat them in competitions, I'm cheering for them when they're on the podium or on the platform. So it's
in my
very
video
supportive.
you can hear it. Yeah, I mean, I heard your voice a couple times yelling at me to make a lift, which could have passed you. I mean, yeah, you're 100% genuine in that aspect. And Lucas, too. Because Lucas's voice is very clear. I could hear him several times, and I actually should send him a message, but thanking him because I could hear his voice on the video several times, cheering for me as I was, kind of, unfortunately for him, surpassing him. He's still cheering for me anyway, and that's very rare. I was trying to get you fired up. I'm sure you're aware of that. Because I knew that if you made the lift, I had to make the lift and then add some if I wanted to catch you. And that's the whole point. And I think, we got medals and we got placing or whatever, and Iron Mind was nice enough to donate gift certificates to the top 3 people, which I think was fantastic. And I appreciate that. I already sent Randy a thank you note for the, supporting the contest monetarily, which is very nice of him. But the reality is you don't find out how good you are until you compete. Anyone can do it in the garage and training and post some great videos, but you got to find out how it is you compete. Talking about helping people. I was helping Joe Sullivan because he was so nervous. And at one point I was like, Joe, just relax. Just go pick it up. He looked at me. He's like, what are you talking about? I go, Joe, you are unbelievably nervous. He goes, how do you know? I'm like, Joe, I've been a high school teacher for 22 years. I work with people every day of my life. I'm pretty sure I can tell if someone's nervous, and you're beyond nervous. Just go relax and pick this thing up. Have fun. Don't worry about it. Just go pick it up. Pick a weight that you can do and pick it up, and then add more and do it again. And then he started kind of coming around, and I think he did quite well. And I think with another year of training, and he's the guy who needs to go to competitions to practice competing. You and I have competed a lot. He has not. Yeah. If he goes to a competition every 2 or 3 months, if he can fit that into his budget and time schedule, I mean, he's going to shoot up very quickly on his lifts.
Mm-hmm.
There's no question. Because as you're aware, and you mentioned to it, and so you alluded to it, so did I. I mean, the 3 people who were in the top 3, you, Eric, and me, probably, I would say, have been, even though I've only been doing it for 4 years, not nearly as long as you and Eric. I've done a lot of grip competitions in the last 4 years. There is an act of competing, and there's an art to competing and getting your PR on the stage in front of everyone at the right day at the right time. And some people struggle with that, and other people tend to do very well at that. So, it's
kind of like test takers. Like some people are bad test takers, and they'll stay up all night for a week studying for a test, and then still end up bombing it or something like that because they can't. Mentally they can't get into the right frame of mind in order to let themselves succeed. So
absolutely.
and you can see the thing that I noticed about Joe is he was standing with the most perfect military posture that I've ever seen in my life, and we were not in the military. There was not a drill sergeant telling him that he had to maintain that posture, but I think his erectors or something were so engaged that from being nervous that he could not loosen up, and then as a consequence the second day he was sore, and most likely because one set of muscles on the side of his body are trying to overtake muscles on the other side of the body, so you're working against yourself and you end up beating yourself up because of it. So
well, and the other thing is, go ahead.
You just make a good point with that with that phrase, practicing competition. It's because that's huge. It's huge.
Well, and I think that's what's going to grow the sport. I mean, if you want to have results, you have got to do it in the contest. And again, it's great to do great training lifts, but you got to do it in the contest when it matters. And it's just like a basketball player's at the free throw line. There's a couple seconds left. Are they going to win the game, or are they not going to win the game? Right? Are they going to make the free throws? Anyone who plays basketball has practiced for that situation hundreds of times as a kid, and do you make them or do you not? And I think, this kind of a contest at the end, there were definitely moments for both you, me, and Eric where we were in that position where if we had missed our lifts, the other guy would have jumped past the other guy. And there's no question. I mean, you don't make that last country crush, I don't think you would have won.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and that was more, you ended up with 373, I think, on Country Crush, if I recall, right? 169 and a half kilos. I think you ended up with, because you did 11 pounds more than me. You ended up with 373. And I'm pretty sure if you didn't make that one, it would have been super close between you and Eric because he would have beaten you by more percentage-wise. So,
very good chance. I don't know the numbers, but I'm sure.
Well, I'll post them later, and you can crunch them yourself. Yeah. I mean, bottom line is you had to make it, and you did, and you won, and you deserved it. And had you botched that one, the result would have been different. And that's what it's all about. But listen, Jed, I need to get in here to my son's basketball game. It's going to be starting in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to need to go. But again, I hope. If I heard from one of the event people when I was there early with Ode getting things set up, that the Philadelphia is going to have a Fit Expo, but it's not going to be in April of 2019. It's going to be later in the fall next year. So it's not going to be just 1 year from now, maybe like a year and a half. So I don't exactly know when that falls, but, if it's possible and we have access to it, and I think it was very well received by the event organizers, I imagine Ode and I would try to run it again. So hopefully, if that's the case, we can dig up some more people. Maybe we can get 25 to 30 people up there, and more than 4 women up there, and really give Philly a show for the contest. So
sounds great. Sounds good. Yeah.
I'll keep you updated as that progresses. But would you compete in it again if we had it again?
Yeah, absolutely. As long, barring, family stuff,
Well, of course.
Who knows?
Right.
But with an open schedule and time to prepare, I would certainly compete again. I had a fantastic time, and it's not just because I took home a victory or medals or anything. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. So, for sure.
Good. Awesome. Well,
cool.
I hope if anyone has comments below, leave them below about the contest, or if they're interested in finding out more, they can let you know, they can let me know, let anyone know, and we'll try to steer them to a contest, because there's no better way to learn than to go to a contest and meet people who have the same kind of goals and aspirations that you do. So,
right. No doubt. Thanks, Ricardo. I appreciate you taking some time today. Enjoy the games. Good luck to your son that's playing today.
Thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right. We'll talk again soon, buddy. Take care.
All right, Jed. Bye.
All right. And with that discussion there, I've got something that I've been holding on to. I don't think I've covered this yet in any of the episodes that we've done, but I've had this since about January. And if I have covered it again, I'm going to go ahead, or if I have covered it already, I'm going to go ahead and do it again because it fits right in. And this is from Dave Tate. He's the owner of EliteFTS.com. And I just copied it and pasted it, and this is what it says. Naturally, this is about powerlifting, but I think it applies perfectly to what we were just discussing. And it's, again, from Dave Tate, first couple years of competitions. Yes, powerlifters, you should enter every local meet in your area. If you can sleep in your bed, wake up, and stroll into a meet, then you should do it. Honestly, you don't even need to prep for it. Just train through Wednesday and grab your belt and wraps, head to the meet, any federation. The best thing you can do earlier in your career is expose yourself to competitions, as many as possible. To miss out on the opportunity to lift in your local area is a sin. Meet conditions only happen at a powerlifting meet. Most of the time, you don't even need to inform people you are competing. Competitions earlier in your career are glorified, heavy training sessions, nothing more. It's all about the total. Get one, a total that is. Get good, and when you get good, then be choosy. So I think that's really good to add on to the end of that discussion. I thought there were going to be way more people at this competition in Philadelphia than what there were. Once I saw it announced as being basically the first East Coast competition of this sort north of West Virginia or the Carolina Mid-Atlantic area, I thought there would be a lot more people. And it goes back to what Ricardo said, that there were 50 people at South Jersey 4, and then only like a total of 20 between 2 days at this competition. There's value in competing, everybody. There's value in getting up on the platform. And what I mean by that is you get used to the competition conditions, which are different from training. Are you going to be uncomfortable when you compete the first couple times? Absolutely. I certainly was. I was nervous beyond belief before my first competition. It was Battle for Grip Supremacy, Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, put on by Rick Walker, and I was a nervous wreck. And I was always nervous. I'm pretty much always nervous before a competition, but it was head and shoulders worse above than what I have now. You're going to be nervous, absolutely. But going back to what Dave Tate says, you just train. You don't have to prep. You just train. You sign up for the meet, and no matter whether you have trained, vigorously for the last 6 months, or if you're coming off a layoff, if you go to any competition, you're still going to feel those aspects. You're going to be more comfortable with competition the more that you do. The most important thing is get to a competition. So if you like the idea of competing, I encourage everyone to go to any competition that they're able to, without a doubt. I'm not saying you got to jump on a plane, spend $400, spend $500 on the hotel, and probably another $150 on food, and then go across the nation. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying you have to do that. But if there's something within driving distance that you can get to, maybe crash someplace at someone's house the night before and then drive home through the night, maybe get someone to come with you if you're going to do that and split up the driving. But I think it's great. I think there's nothing better than getting that experience in the competition and knowing what to expect, because until you actually do one, you're never really going to know what to expect in a competition. So, this is just a public service announcement to everyone that is contemplating going to a competition, or there's one nearby. I encourage you to go. The Northwest has so many competitions now. It used to be there was nothing in the Northwest of the United States. Now there's competitions every few months out there. Even if it's a one event competition like the one that Todd ran out there with, it was just a car deadlift and hold. Even that is a good experience for you guys. And it just seems like there's competitions going on that people could get to, and then they don't go. And that does not help you. That does not help the promoter. When they have to put the money forward and invest the time, miss time with their family, drive or travel, spend time in the hotel room, and only 1, 2, 5 people show up, it's very disheartening for the promoter. And we can't have competitions without promoters. So I encourage everybody to go to competitions. Even if you don't think you're ready yet, that's okay, because you're getting that experience. And I guarantee you there's going to be veterans there that will help you out. A competition like, I'll point to Gripmas that's every year in Ohio. That competition generally gets really, really good attendance. And it's got a long history, and many people have competed there. But most importantly, there are veterans there that will help you out, just like every other competition. So if you've been thinking about competing and there's something within a short distance from you, I encourage you to sign up and go and do that meet. I think you're going to have a good time doing it. You're going to learn. It's going to help you for the next time, and you're going to be breaking that ice, man. You're going to be breaking that ice, and it's going to make the next one that much easier. And now I'll just get off my soapbox there. But I love grip, guys. I absolutely love it. I love doing this stuff. I love the people in it, and I want to see the sport grow. We can't grow the sport without competitors. We can't grow the sport without promoters. We really don't need sponsors for the sport to grow. it's really about getting people to come. That's why every week that we do these episodes of This Week in Grip, I say the first rule of grip sport is you tell everyone about grip sport. It's about getting people involved. That's what it's all about. You included. Get to the competition, have a good time. You're going to enjoy it. I don't know a lot of people that have ever gone to a grip competition and hated it, okay? There's not a lot of people. Maybe on one hand, I can tell you about people who, like, truthfully, honestly said, man, I really didn't have a good experience at that grip contest. It's actually quite the opposite. Probably 99% of the people who have ever competed have had good things to say. They say it brought the best out of them. They say they learned things. They say they met people that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten to meet. I know that people have ended up making really good friends with people at competitions. I know that they've ended up getting new training partners, developed relationships where they may not train together but train as a team through distance, and then keep contact with one another, either through phone calls, emails, social media, gripboard.com, whatever it may be. There's so many benefits to competing, guys. It's a lot of fun, and there's a heck of a lot worse things you can be doing with your time than preparing for a grip contest. I know that it's my primary motivator, grip sport, grip training is, and I don't know what I'd be doing now as far as training-wise if it wasn't for grip. I just love this stuff, and that's why I encourage everybody to take part and participate. The other thing, real quick before I go, and probably people are getting tired of hearing me say this, but liking the videos. I mean, we're taking some time out of our schedule, so we're trying to make things work. And look at Alan didn't make it on today. He's got stuff going on. Ricardo was in the car, and we still got a show done today. We're putting the time forward, guys, and I ask guys and gals, okay? I'm not trying to slight the females or anything. I want to grow the female side of the sport as well. But the thing I want to ask everybody is, please, like the video. Like the video. It will help the cause. It will help the sport. It literally goes to the formulas and algorithms on YouTube. If a video gets liked, it helps to show that video is popular and that content is worth promoting throughout the platform of YouTube. And the more people that we get discussions like this in front of, the better. Because there's people that don't even know that grip sport exists. They don't realize that there's grip competitions. I was just chatting with Jason Gillen, who's running a contest out in the Northwest, I believe in July, and don't have the dates in front of me. But he did this. He's been doing grip probably as long as I have. But he didn't realize that there were actual grip competitions until he heard, I believe, an interview that I did with Eric Ferrillo about grip training and grip sport on the Mind and Muscle podcast that Eric Ferrillo does. And Jason is also a participant in that podcast. So that's one great success story in that he's been training all this time for grip, did not realize that there were competitions, found out about it through a podcast, social media, and is now running competitions or plans to run a competition in the Northwest, and I bet he's going to run more. Another one, here's a name that I bet most people have heard. This person did grip training for years, was really good at grippers and did all kinds of grip work, had no idea there were competitions. Cody Burns. He's won Gripmas before. The first competition that he went to, if I remember correctly, was the 2012 National Championship for North American Grip Sport at Andrew Derniat's gym, and he qualified through videos and ended up, he's one of the best in grip at 93 kilos, in the 93 kilo weight class. He's one of the best in grip. Had no idea that grip competitions were taking place until, I don't even remember how he found out about it, but he didn't know the stuff was going on. I remember talking to Brent Barbie about the fact that he's probably been doing it, Cody had probably been doing it longer than Brent had, and just didn't know that grip competitions were taking place. So guys, I'm asking you a personal favor right now. If you're listening to the video at this point, we're over an hour here. If you're listening to the video, it sounds to me like you probably enjoyed the content of the video. I'm asking you, when you watch these videos, to hit the thumbs up button. Hit the like button and show that you support this podcast, this video on the channel. Whether you like my channel or not. Maybe you can't stand any of the videos I put out because I don't take the time to, I don't invest the time for production quality. Most of the videos I put up these days are either training footage or Q&As. I'm not asking you to subscribe right now. I'm asking you, when you do watch one of these episodes of This Week in Grip, please, guys and girls, hit the like button. I'd be most appreciative. And that's it. I thank everybody for what you're doing. Keep up the good work in your training. I love watching clips. I probably follow more gripsters than anybody else does. And I'm always trying to watch as much as I can, follow as many as I can, and see what's going on out there. And I appreciate it if you could just do this one thing, hit the like button. And that's it. Episode 52 is over. We should be back next week, and we'll be talking about the arm lifting competition that is going on in Russia right now. I know that Clay Edgen actually is just doing a great job out there. He has already set the world record on the silver bullet with, I believe, 19.7 seconds on the number 4. And I'm sure there's more fireworks to come, which will be going down. And we'll be covering that next week in episode 53. Be sure to like the video, subscribe if you like, leave a comment if you have a question, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.